What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Just Chuckin here with Kyle Just Bets and, of course, me, Matty Chucks. Kyle, you had hopefully a good weekend. I don't know how the weather is over by you, but Mondays always excite me, so I hope they excite you too. How's it going?
I like to say it's a good day to have a good day. It's pouring rain here, which is pretty ass. I'm not gonna lie. But hey, I got up, got the workout in, been in the lab, so it's a good day all around. At least so far. Until tonight, we'll see how those plays go, but can't complain.
Are you one of those guys that gets the workout in like super early and just tries to get it done with, or you like to usually go after work?
I like to be the thought of being the guy that gets up early like excites me. I'm like, man, I want to be that guy. Today was like the first day that I got up at the crack of dawn in like 6 months to go work out. I'm usually like an after work guy, but I've been tired, man. Like I lab all day, I'm at work, and then to go hit the gym, and then like it's game time. I'm like constantly looking at plays and what's going on in the games. I'm like, I'm not even working out. I'm not even lifting. I'm just checking to see if so and so got my rebounds and assists. So waking up in the morning, just staying off the phone and getting it done early is a game changer today. I'm feeling good.
You kind of have to. I mean, I'm sucking this like if I don't get plays out at night, I can miss out on like 60% of the bets I was going to place, which kind of sucks because we're in that kind of like era of sports betting now. And it kind of sucks when you're on the East Coast because those West Coast guys get those really raw lines. Now, it does suck that I guess they have to wake up super early if they want to do stuff. But at the end of the day, you can get that stuff late at night and then just not have to do anything all morning. That's kind of my
Right.
preferred thing because we all know if it's 7 o'clock at night when the games start, and like I always end up having one guy on each side, or say if a guy's points rebounds, you're like watching the game trying to work out, but then you're just watching every possession because he can score on this one, and on defense he can get the rebound. So it's like you might as well just sit down on the couch and do nothing because that always is what happens with me every time.
Yep. Yeah. This morning was like the first morning I checked the lines when I first woke up this morning, and I think I sent a play to the Dub Club at like 6 o'clock this morning, which is like usually pretty rare for me. And I feel bad because I'm definitely blowing up people's phones at like 6 a.m. when they're probably not even awake. But the line was good, and I was like, I gotta send this out because I know it's gonna move. So that was like, first time thing for me right there. I'm usually like sleep pretty early. I get up, check the line. Sometimes I miss out on that CLV or just those overnight lines in general. But I don't blame you. You got to stay up, late if you want to get some good value. I think there's good value throughout the day. You can find it if you play your spots right. But I don't blame you on that.
Yeah, no, it's kind of just like it's so hard to work out because I can't get in a rhythm, right? Most people that go to work, they um they'll like go, oh, I get off at 5, I'll go to work. For me, it's like, can I get a last second like parlay out there that has good value, some last second lines, some injury news? And it kind of just ruins everything. I don't think people realize, maybe they do, like this job is great, right? Like this sports betting stuff, but it is like just taxing, not like physically, because like you're not like doing physical labor, but like every second I feel like I'm just always trying to see if something moved, what's available, don't miss out on this. And every day that goes on, there's more people in this space that move those lines. Whereas they could have, let's say that line could have been gone by 9 a.m. before. Now it's like 7 a.m. You know what I mean? It's like it's just getting less and less. I guess it's getting harder and harder to do that. But one of the ways to combat that, at least right now, is hop on ProphetX because you're still getting those good lines, and you can request your own lines, and there are going to be people that are going to want to match you. So I think we're at the space in time right now where these websites, apps like ProphetX are going to take over because it's just a refreshing way to make plays. I guess it's a refreshing way to put your money. It gets matched by someone else. There's no vig, there's no juice, there's no house. So I mean, it's oh, and again, it only works if people are on here. So again, I'm not saying get ProphetX. Don't even use my code. I honestly could care less. I just want more people on this app, on this website, because the more people that are on, the more bets that get matched. And that's just simple common sense, plain and simple. We do have a question. He says, you think Jokic under 21 first half PRA lock? Under its away game, barely pushed 26 against the Lakers, plus everyone back healthy. I mean, I wouldn't look at the number personally based on other matchups. I do know that they did lose. Everyone's back healthy, but the offense still kind of runs through Jokic. I kind of think it's a tough time to do any Jokic unders, honestly. Like I think you could like not like the overs, but to actually bet an under for me, it's pretty hard. But Kyle, you can give your thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, I think, like you said, taking Jokic unders right now is tough. Those first half, that was a first half PRA prop, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Those are tough. Jokic, I've seen him too many times start out the first half extremely hot. I've seen him put triple doubles up almost in the first quarter, especially recently. Pacers have been getting beat on the boards. They're not a great team, at least from what I remember. I'd have to look at some stats, but for assists, so tough to say. I don't know. He didn't have a great scoring game last time out. Does he come out firing? I don't know. Takes it usually a lot for him to get to the free throw line to get some of those points. Took him for a triple double a couple days ago, and he finished 1 assist short. But I think also in that game, I took his 9.5 first quarter points. Maybe it's a different game, but he was just not shooting the ball in the first quarter, and it was pissing me off. He got to the free throw line like 3 times.
I think that was the Lakers.
Just would not.
I think it was.
Yeah, he would just not shoot. And he had like 1 field goal attempt, and I was like, what is going on? And he finished, I think, at like 8 or 9 points. So he was close, but that's tough. You know, unders on superstars are always tough. I have to look into it a little bit, but if you're liking it, why not?
I feel like he's also trying to get that MVP. It's definitely Shy's to lose. But I mean, he's still going to play his heart out. The Nuggets were on a roll up until they got kind of stomped by the Lakers there. They won, I think, like 6 or 7 straight. But let's talk game by game here. I'm going to start with the later games only because I actually have a play in this game. I actually played Nurkic over 7.5 points. And again, it opened at 6.5, which is why on ProphetX it's still 6.5. But I also really leaned a Nurkic over 0.5 threes, which is so ugly. I mean, just so ugly. But I mean, we could look at his game log here, and you look at what he's done while on the Hornets, and you get Mark Williams not starting. He's taken 3, 4, and 3 in those solid matchups. Again, Orlando's always a tough matchup for threes. Only played 16 minutes, but 3, 4, and 3 attempts. He's just having fun out there now. He's not playing for anything. The Suns aren't playing for the Suns were kind of fighting for the playoffs, had a lot of stars. The Hornets, he's just kind of having fun doing his thing. And the odds on him to have 1-3 is plus 110, plus 120. But I just got my Nurkic at 0.5 threes at plus 130 because that's the odds that I saw in the morning before they moved. And it just matched. So again, if you like a certain spot, go ahead and try it out on ProphetX because I just got value there across a lot of other sports books that are having plus 110s, plus 115s, and I get a plus 130. So again, worst thing that happens, it doesn't get matched and you just get your money back. So another reason why ProphetX is honestly just so good to use. And I do it all the time with a lot of my leans. I say, hey, let me see if I can get this. It's a little bit better than market and see if it works. Kyle, do you have anything in this game whatsoever? Or are you staying away from this shit show?
No, I'm gonna look at this game. It's definitely a shit show, but it's an interesting one. I see a lot of people on Nurkic lately. Dude, I've just looked it up as you were talking. Like, I've noticed his assists the last few games, and he's just been passing the rock. And I think it's now like probably 2.5 today or something like that, his assist line. But he's just had games of like crazy assist numbers. And I just looked over the last week. He has the second most potential assists on this Hornets team behind LaMelo. And it's like 1 potential assist behind LaMelo per game. Making 33 passes per game. So he's like 5th on the team, I think, right now. But averaging 6.3 assists per game. That's most on the team. That's pretty wild. I need to look more at the matchup against the Kings, but that's an interesting one. What's that line at right now for his assist on ProphetX?
I wonder what they have it at. It's under 2.5 is plus 132. So you can request your own odds. I mean, I was looking at that earlier today, see if I can get it. I know the line was bad. It's minus like 184 for 2.5. It's moved to like 3.5. I'd probably stay away at 3.5, but him to get 3 assists is like, I feel like easy money. I might just see if we can even like request this. See if we could do like minus 160. See if anyone match. They're not going to match it right now. Let's see if anyone matches it. But again, it's just, did they match it? No, unmatched. Okay. I don't think anyone's going to match that, but we'll see what happens. I did see that LaMelo is playing today, which is going to be huge. I think Nurkic's PRA is just a solid look. Because no Mark Williams. I just think he's like LaMelo's going to take his shots, but LaMelo is also going to give him a couple easy buckets. So if he can get those and secure some rebounds and be active in the pick and roll, or maybe do some handoffs, the books having a hard time picking his lines because the Hornets have been injured. He's only been there for 4 games. So a lot of times they can either overcompensate or undercompensate, and that's where you find your value. Do you have anything in this Portland-Utah game?
I'm still looking at that one too. That's probably the one I dove into the least. I know a lot of people are on Denny assists today. I like that. He's definitely been dishing. Is Collier out? I was trying to find his lines earlier because that seems like a solid matchup.
Because I think Laurie is questionable. I think they were kind of waiting on those news. Yeah, I think Laurie's questionable. Kessler's questionable. So they don't really know what's going on. And John Collins is already out. Sexton's out. Clarkson's out. So they're probably just waiting to put that. Because I could assume they've been getting killed on his lines as of the last couple of weeks. So they're probably just
I assume it's going to be pretty high today. Solid matchup. And then without Sexton, I mean, it's, his RA is like free. I see that. I see people hitting on that every night. And I'm like, I don't know why I don't play this. It's the first thing I looked for this morning. And I was like, is he injured? Is he not out? Like, what's going on? I don't see his lines. So we'll keep an eye on that. That's one prop I'll definitely look at, but I assume it's going to come in pretty high.
Yeah, I have to agree. I mean, they probably won't even put that in. If Laurie and Kessler are out, they probably wouldn't put that line in until an hour or so before game time, I would assume. I'm not touching that game. I hate the Trailblazers. I never know what they're going to do, especially with their big men. I never know what Klingon's going to do, or just flat out anybody. I mean, Ayton's out, but I mean, and they're still. I don't want to say they're in the playoff race because I don't think they're going to make it, but I don't know what they're doing over there. I just feel like with Shaden Sharp, a lot of these guys on the bench, they have a lot of, I feel like, sneaky good guys on their roster. But I feel like there's just nothing that kind of fits right now. That's the way I kind of see them. So I just don't like taking any of their players' lines. I can never get a hold of them. It's like them, the Nets, and the Sixers. Those are my 3 where I just don't like to bet on whatsoever because I cannot just get anything. But there is something interesting in this game, and that is the Minnesota Timberwolves, Oklahoma City Thunder. This is their 3rd matchup in like the last 2 weeks. A week of actual games because of the All-Star break. I'm saying that, but I think Gobert is back today or supposed to be back. Do you think they maybe sit Chet on this back-to-back? Do you think he's good? He's not on the injury report, but I wouldn't be shocked if he sat either.
Yeah, that was my first thought. I know they're being cautious with him. They got Hartenstein, so why not give him some rest? They're playing the same team back-to-back. So I could see that happening. And in that case, I think Hartenstein's value goes, pretty high up. Yeah. It's a good opportunity for him to get some boards. I know there's a ton of people pissed at him last night because I think he got that 10th rebound, but he didn't get that 10th rebound.
Yeah.
I saw a lot of missed slips on that, but I think it's a good opportunity to maybe back him again. I know Shai does pretty well without Chet on the court. Obviously, he's played a lot without him this season, but you just look at some of those numbers. Um, Shy's value could go up in this game too.
Yeah, I think too the interesting thing is Gobert was out in both of those matchups. So Naz Reid was obviously I played his RA last night, which was a fantastic bet. But everyone's like, we got to run it back, and I'm like, well, if Gobert plays,
Right.
he's not really playing the 5 anymore. But I do think if Gobert plays, it helps Hartenstein because I don't think Hartenstein played a lot last time because they were kind of too big and Minnesota kind of went small. But you can't go small with Gobert on the court. So if Gobert plays, I'm probably playing Hartenstein rebounds. Um, Maybe his PR. I just can never trust him actually shooting. Like I think his rebounds or RA is always safer in my opinion. But I also think that Chet could possibly play. I personally don't see the reason why he would play, but you never know. I mean, OKC's obviously trying to just keep winning games. They have a pretty solid lead in the West. Let me see how many games. I don't know why they would. I guess they're trying to still compete for the overall 1 seed and overall home court advantage if they do get it. Still competing with the Cavs. But again, I'm probably waiting for this news to come out. So I don't think I have anything there yet. I did like SGA RA as well, just because
Uh,
what?
oh yeah, no, I was just about to say that. I'm looking at his assists right now.
Yeah.
Uh, if Chet were to sit, so on 0 days rest without Chet, he's got 7, 7, 7, and 8 assists the last 4 games. Uh, Over 6.5 assists, 71% of the time this year. See potentials. It's got double-digit potentials basically every game. 12.4 on average. So that's pretty solid. He had 8 last night. I don't know how many of those were to Chet, but man, yeah,
A lot. He did
he's been
pass to Alex
passing.
Caruso 3 times in a row for open 3, which was buckets. Um, but again, yeah, I mean they're forcing SGA to get tough shots or pass the rock. And if Chet doesn't sit, I mean, just if Chet sits, I actually think his usage goes higher because a lot of times I was watching the game because I had SGA leading scorer and Naz Reid in that game, so I was glued to the screen. Basically, they kind of not double, but pick up SGA at half court basically, and he kind of just threw it to Chet and let Chet kind of play with a lot more space and less crowded defense. So when Chet was off the court, SGA was ball dominant, but when he was on the court, he actually kind of let him do his own thing, which took away from him his assists, honestly, because he was kind of letting Chet kind of run things. But again, I think you're right. If he sits, I think you kind of have to be all over that. And 6.5 assists for SGA is plus 120 on Bet365. So you get some really good value. It could drop down to 5.5 if Chet plays. Who knows? But I think it's something to monitor for sure. I just worry about, do you think OKC finally runs away with one of these games? Because they got blown out one game. Then they barely won last game. I know they ended up winning by 10, but they were losing in the fourth quarter pretty late. I have to think that one of these games they're going to blow them out because Minnesota's still without Randall, still without DiVincenzo. I don't know how they've really been competing. So it's just interesting to me.
Yeah, it seems like it's been all Ant Edwards in those matchups. I'm just looking. They're 5-4 off no rest this season. Last time they played off no rest was against OKC. They won by 15 points. So
Yeah, that was the
they've
game
won their
that
last.
they were crushing.
Yeah, they won their last 3 games off no rest by like 15 plus points. So that's kind of interesting. Last time they lost was against Cleveland, which no surprise.
Yeah, I'm actually looking here. I think a play I'm looking at right now, just because we've been talking about it. I know Gobert is back, so I don't like Naz Reid, all of his stats, but I think his threes actually make a lot more sense because I think he spaces the floor more. And Gobert is really not going to take as much volume, but you can look at the volume that Reid has been playing with against OKC 3 for 9 in both games. If he gives me 9 shots, I'm taking the 2.5 every time. That's just the honest truth. I'm looking around right now. Did they play them before? Yeah, 1 for 5 before. I'm trying to see what happened here. Just an ugly game. Well, I guess he didn't start because of Randall. That's why. 12 attempts there. I wonder what he's been doing since Randall's been sitting. Let's see here. We can go to, where's Minnesota? Minnesota OKC. We go to Naz Reid. We can see with Randall out. So he's over in 5 of 10. Let's see here. Houston, Milwaukee, Cleveland. So when did he go down? He went down, so February 1st, the Washington game. 2 for 6. I mean, 9, 10, 8, 9, 6, 7, 9, 6, 9. He's taken his attempts, his fair share. Usually with me, I like, if I'm taking his 3 threes, I like to have 7 or 8 minimum with like attempts with a chance for more. And I mean, he's averaging 7.9 attempts this month, which pretty much fits my narrative. And back to back, I think he shoots more. That's just usually what I think when it comes to guys who are a little more tired and they want to shoot a little more threes. So I may end up taking that Naz Reid threes again. What are your thoughts on that, Kyle?
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. Last 3 off no rest. He's got 8, 8, and 9 attempts over in 2 of the last 3. It's solid. I mean, yeah,
I
over
think
in
it's
back-to-back games against him.
I mean, he took 9, right? Like, it's not like he only took 5 and went 3 for 5. And I'm like, oh, expect him to go, 60% from 3 again. I really think I may end up taking a stab at this. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I mean, with 8 attempts,
you're getting minus 108 on FanDuel. I mean, I think there should be at least like minus 130.
Yeah, 8 attempts over an 82% of games. Only missed twice with that many shots. So,
I mean,
I like that.
I think I'm gonna add that to my card. Let's see if we can find it here. Oh, look, there's $25 to fill here. I might take that. I'm gonna see if I can get more. If you guys want to fade me, go ahead. Just it's right there for the taking, my guys. Okay, it's right there. I absolutely love that spot. If we're being honest, I think I'm definitely gonna add that. I actually just moved the line on my odds tool right now on ProphetX. I just saw that because I filled it. But yeah, I think it's a fantastic spot. And the off chance that Gobert does sit, which I don't think he does sit, but if he does, then you're in the same spot you were before. So I would like it just as much. Miami Heat and Atlanta Hawks. Do you have anything here?
I do, yeah. I like this game. The Heat and Hawks seems like it's always a solid matchup. Both teams coming off no rest. Hawks just played like tough game against Detroit last night, and it was high scoring. I think both teams almost had like 140. But that's this Hawks team. That's what they do. I see this one being gritty. I think it's going to be pretty messy. If we're being honest, I think it's going to be a ton of missed shots. One line I like, and I was talking to you about it, Maddie, before we hopped on, was Tyler Hero. And most people would think assists, points, threes, but I'm actually looking at his rebounds in this game. He's been super solid off no rest this year. It's a good matchup against the Hawks. They let up a ton of 3-point defensive rebounds. They've let guards just wreck them on the rebounds. I think last night Beasley had 7, Cade Cunningham had 7. We've seen guys like Lillard, whoever else. I had the list up in front of me before, but they've all crushed him on the boards. I like it just because it's off a back-to-back. If Hawks come out shooting not so well, I could see Tyler Hero racking up some boards there. I think he had 7 last night. So off no rest, that seems like his go-to is just kind of crash the boards. Seems like a solid spot for him. 5.5 is a pretty decent number. I think I saw minus 114 before, minus 1 15, I think, ProphetX. So
I think that's what you should do. Let's see what's filled here. We got rebounds, 5.5 minus 110. Usually the star players have this stuff filled. Tyler Hero assists at 7.5.
yeah, that's high. I get it because he had a huge night last night, but and Hawks are a good team for assists. Don't get me wrong. He could soar over that number, but that's high.
So what would be your best bet in this game?
I'm taking Tyler Hero rebounds. I think it's super solid. I think he's gonna, crash the boards, like I said. Um, it's just a good
I love
matchup.
it.
He probably gets matched up there with Trey a little bit. Whoever else they got, maybe Rozier on the bench every once in a while. But I think you're going to see a lot of driving to the rim this game. And if they're shooting threes, I don't think it's going to be very pretty. Both teams love to shoot the three ball, so we'll probably see plenty of it, but it's not going to be super pretty.
I mean, he was kind of on triple double watch the last time they played, if we're being honest.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying bet the triple double, but I'm just saying I think rebounds is a solid look, and there is a little bit here for you to get matched on ProphetX. Again, guys, the more people on it, the more money that you can get to fill. That's what we need. That's what we need from you guys, nonstop. We can get this stuff matched all the time. Fade your friends, fade me if you guys want to. That's usually what some haters like to do, but I've never seen someone actually show a slip. Now's the chance to just do it straight up. Clippers, Pistons, anything, or Nets, Washington, anything, or no?
Not yet. Pistons matchup, I'll definitely take a look at. I like looking at the games, like I've said, where teams are off, no rest. I think you could find some value there just based on some stats you see on how they play off no rest. Some guys play similar minutes, some guys' minutes crash. Books are usually pretty good about monitoring that, but always worth a look. I have nothing in those games yet, though. They're definitely some ugly games, especially that Nets Wizards game. And sometimes those ugly games are where you find like the most value. See someone just go off. I could see someone like Bilal in that Washington game, crashing the boards, getting assists, something like that happened today. But I got to look a little deeper into these matchups.
Yeah, I wanted to play Zubac so bad, honestly, in the Pistons game, but I just feel like since they're going to be fully manned, I never really know what to do. But I feel like he's going to just dominate Jalen Duren over there. That's just my honest opinion. But I can't get myself to do it. I did play Mataz Buzelis, whatever his name is, the young kid from Chicago. I did play his over 1.5 threes. I'm gonna request this here because I got minus 125. It's not even there right now. I'm gonna request minus 120 and see what we get here. Hopefully, we get some positive EV people that think that's a bad thing, or something that can just match that for me. But he's taken 6, 7, and 7 threes. This new kind of Bulls team is a little odd with all their new pieces they got from trading Levine, but he's been taking a ton of threes, and you can look at his game log here. Look at the percentage of his shots that's coming from deep. Like against Phoenix, took 10 field goal attempts, 7 3-point attempts. That's just such a high percentage of his shots from beyond the arc. And again, it's not like he's getting to the free throw line a ton either. Only 2 free throws before. 8 shots against New York, 6 threes, and 12 and 7. So, I mean, if you think he gets over his 12.5 points line, you have to kind of assume he's going to hit 2 threes. But even last game, he would have went under his points line and over his threes, even if you took away a 3. So for me, I'm all over this. I'm posting this to Twitter soon. So if you're on the show, Dub Club got it before the show started. But if you're on the show, I already placed this bet. So if you want a tail and you like it, go play it. I just requested it on ProphetX as well.
Yeah, I like that. I'm looking right now. Let's see. They're playing Philly. Philly So one thing I like to do, and this is a little secret I'll share, I like to look at the last 3 weeks a team has played, and I like to look at what they've allowed to opponents in 3 weeks. And I've kind of just come up with this 3 week timestamp because I feel like in a 3 week period, you see a few back to backs, you see them play on the road and away, and then you just see some time off and mix. You see a couple injuries, you see different rotations. To me, that's what's worked best for me. So I'm always going to mention 3 week time periods. Is what I like to look at. So with that, I see Philly last 3 weeks is allowing the fourth most above the break three field goal made. And I want to say their field goal percent is, third highest. So it's solid. They're letting up a ton of threes. Teams are shooting well against them from three the last 3 weeks. And I say the last 3 weeks, it excludes the All-Star break. So it's the last 3 weeks of like games actually played. That's just my rule of thumb, something I like to look at. It's worked for me this season. So
I like that. I think a lot of people who say like full season numbers or like this happened, like a lot of us get stuck, and it's tough to remember. Like a lot of us I'm trying to think of a team. A lot of us get stuck of like, let's say, what did Keegan Murray do versus this team in November? Well, it's different what he's going to do now because Zach LaVine's there. So it's like, and De'Aaron Fox is gone. It's like the game is just different. It's tough to equate those unless you kind of like even LeBron now. Like I'm not gonna say LeBron did this earlier because now Luka's playing, and I feel like a lot of times we kind of get stuck in the he did this versus this team. But unless a lot of those key pieces are similar, I feel like it's kind of just useless in my opinion.
yeah, I don't even look at season long data anymore. I see a lot of people still do that. They let up the most rebounds to small forwards on the season. And it's like, that's great. It might have been like a big chunk in the beginning of the season where they let up a ton. And that's still maybe why they're close to the top. But I think teams are smarter than that. They adjust rotations. There's the trade deadline. There's the All-Star break. Things happen. So you got to look more at recent data. So that's why I like that 3 week time period. You see teams like start to make adjustments. You're seeing like a lot of the same consistencies through teams. If you're looking at season long data, I think you're just not going to be in the right spot making bets. You got to put yourself in the right space there.
I agree. I think a lot of times too, I think a lot of people I'm seeing are just a lot of hit rate guys, and hit rates are great. But there was someone who I'm going to call this person out. Honestly, I posted Tyus Jones under 7.5 or under 8.5 RA. And he messaged me my own tweet and said, "Not gonna lie, this is a horrible read," with no explanation. And I was just like, I just said, "Why is that?" And he goes, "Last few games he's been going off on assists, mind you. Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, and or Bradley Beal, at least 2 of the 3 were all out in those last 3 games. And that is why this hit rate stuff is just getting out of control. Yeah. Hit rates are great. You want hit rates. But like using that as just like law is just absolutely absurd. Because that guy, if I didn't explain it, probably would have slammed his over. And he ended with like 5, by the way. And
Yep.
it was a good read considering. But like that happens more often than not. Do you ever get that with some of your things or no?
Dude, the one thing, like if there's one thing on gambling Twitter that pisses me off more than anything is when someone says it's a bad read before the game has even happened, before the players even stepped on the court or the field or whatever. They're like, It's a bad read. I'm like, the read hasn't happened yet. You can't say it's a bad read. If he goes under or over, if I lose the bet, sure, I can chalk it up to a bad read. But you can't tell me it's a bad read when things haven't even played yet. And especially when you're writing out a write-up, you got all the stats behind it. You feel like the read is there. You can't really tell me it's bad until it actually plays out.
Yeah. But it's a win-win for those people because they can comment bad read, and if it hits, they can go away. But if it
Yep.
doesn't hit, he is right back to that comment he was waiting for. And it's like, told y'all. And then you get 4 random dudes who are like, oh, I should have listened to you. And it's like, dude, like this is just so dumb. I just can't
Yep.
stand people on the internet. And honestly, a lot of you guys shouldn't be gambling. I love a lot of you guys, but a lot of you guys should not be making plays with actual currency. Monopoly money is probably a good idea. Just being real. I'm just being absolutely real. Last game we'll talk about is the Nuggets and Pacers. Do you have anything in this game at all? We had our one guy earlier who wanted to fade Jokic. One of my good friends, Joe Dallaire, is actually on Jokic. Please keep carving out time. I think it's a solid idea. I think it is. I think we're gonna have to do it. I mean, I can go on and on about stories of these guys. There was one. There was one guy had an F5 money line in baseball. So if they tied, we got our money back. And it was the Rangers. And it was 0-0 through the 3rd inning. And this guy's in my DMs basically telling me to go off myself because this was such a bad read. He lost so much money. I'm never going to bet this again. You ruined my whole day, blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, the bet didn't even lose yet, and we weren't even losing yet. Okay? Turns out I get a solo shot from like Marcus Simeon in the 5th. We win the bet. We win 1-0. He then messaged me again and goes, oh, I never had a doubt, blah, blah, and sends me a bet slip of $25. If you're that butthurt over $25 in general, we gotta call somebody. Maybe not the number, but call a friend. It's just what it is. So yeah, that's probably my most annoying story, but there's definitely a lot more. Before we go, I guess, do you want to talk any highlight plays?
Yeah, we can talk it quick.
Did you look at anything yet or no?
I'm still doing some research on highlight. It's an interesting slate tonight. I'll say this. Oh yeah, Brando
Dude,
knows.
I got screwed in my last one. I had the first set, and they blew it. They were 4-1. They blew it, and then crushed them every other set. Like, how did they lose up 4-1?
Dude, that's a wild sport. I saw that too, and I was upset for you. I hate those first set lines.
So frustrating. So we got the Chargers and Cyclones today.
Yeah, there's a lot of close matchups today. The books even know it. Like everything's priced pretty evenly.
I don't know who thought these pictures were a good idea either. I mean, this is like the least intimidating thing I've seen in a while.
I don't know. The Cesta looks kind of badass in those pictures.
It kind of does.
Don't you think?
Yeah, like this guy looks like he's.
It depends how you hold it, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right. This guy's a unit. Jesus. All right.
Yeah, I'm liking. So I was looking at it earlier. I'll make some plays here in a bit and post them on X for you guys. One interesting one I see is Itaberde and Inaki. I think I'm saying their names right. Pretty evenly priced. Inaki's minus 190, which seems juiced, but in highlight world, that's actually pretty fair. Itaberde is a plus 140 underdog right now, and I think he's 2-0 this year. And Inaki has not played a singles game at all yet this year. He's ranked number 1. He's probably been doing well in practice, but he hasn't played once this year. I don't know what the reason is for that. But Idaberde's played well, and he's spanked the guys he's played. So I think there's value on him at plus 140. If anything, I'm liking it. Just keep it a close game. I think on Hard Rock,
whoever he did play, he won by 6 and 8 points.
Yeah, so he's been good, and those guys he played are solid. So if you're on Hard Rock, you play over total points, point spread.
He's actually plus 110 as well on other places. So
is he?
Dude, okay. What are we doing here? This is just absolutely absurd. This is actually funny.
Oh man. Yeah, man. Highlight is a crazy sport, fastest sport in the world. So I'm not surprised if someone died. It's put your
Highlight.
life on the line when you get in that cage.
I agree. I think we're gonna have to talk and discuss because a lot of our guys don't know who Highlight is. We'll talk after the show and get some stuff out. But anything else you like on this NBA slate, or I'm not even gonna talk about college basketball slate before we go.
I got give two thoughts right now. One pick I'll give you guys because I already posted it. I'm playing it. Josh Giddey in the Bulls Sixers game. I think a lot of people are going to be on him today. AO is out again today, so you got to look at Josh Giddey's numbers there. Soars over this number, 14 and a half rebounds and assists. You could take rebounds, you could take assists, triple double, double double. I'm sprinkling on basically everything here. Sixers are just a great matchup. They let up a ton of assists from above the break three, ton of assists at the rim, ton of rebounds. So this lines up pretty solid for him if he sees 30 minutes, which I think he should. And then Nuggets Pacers game. I'm actually just looking this up like as we're talking about it. And let's see. I want to make sure I give you guys the right numbers. Denver last 3 weeks, like I mentioned, giving up 8th most above the break three assists. And I think everyone knows Denver's been a pretty solid team looking at for assists this year. They're playing the Pacers. So I'm looking at the Pacers, seeing like who over the last 3 weeks has gotten good chunk of their assists from above the break three. Surprising name here is Pascal Siakam. That's where he's getting about third of his assists the last couple weeks. Most of any place else he shoots. Solid hit rate. I know doesn't matter. Don't look at past stats, but against Denver, let's see, he's over in 4 to 5 against Denver. And then let me just look at his potentials quick. Potentials have been there, 6 and 5 last couple games, so that could be a look. Let's see how power forwards have done. Tricky matchup. I'm going to look at that one more, but I think there's value there. Looks like his line's already moved to 3.5.
I was looking at Christian Braun stuff, or like maybe like Aaron Gordon, because the Pacers get abused at the rim. So I'm like, if we can just get guys who get to the basket a ton, that's kind of where you want to be. I do like Siakam kind of everything. I feel like the offense just runs through him more and more as the season goes on. But the Nuggets allow a ton of assists. So
yeah,
I kind of liked Halliburton, but he's just been so inconsistent this year, honestly, for my liking at all.
Yeah, I like him too today, but that inconsistency scares me. He's either having a great game or he's nowhere to be found. So those are tough guys to trust.
Yeah. Well, that's it for today, guys. Again, download ProphetX. Let's start filling this up, get some liquidity in here. Again, use either code KyleJB or code Chucks. And we'll post the link out. I should probably start posting the link underneath this stuff. But let's have a monster day. Today is Monday, so set the tone right. I was supposed to take this before the show started, the Celsius, but I'm gonna take some now. See if I can get a good crack on this mic right here. Hold on. I used to do this all the time. Let's see if this goes. Oh, it's like a rocket ship. There it is. That was nice.
Hey, man, I'm caffeined up today. I had pre-workout this morning, 2 cups of coffee.
Pre-workout and coffee,
dude. I need it.
Dead?
I'm gonna be dead by like 5 or 6 p.m. You're not gonna see me posted on Twitter or anything. I'm just gonna be like dead, and that's what happens sometimes. If my plays win or lose, you won't even see me like post about it until the next day because I've like completely crashed out, and I don't see things until the next morning. So that happens every once in a while, and sometimes it's for the best. Especially if a play loses terribly, it's like I'd rather not even see it. I'd rather be asleep and just wake up to it in the morning and move on. So yeah, honestly, don't be surprised.
Honestly, like when I used to take pre-workout, I should just be smacking my head just way too much, and I just get get a little too much. Now, if I have 1 coffee and 1 Celsius, if I go over that, like I'm just, it's bad. My insides just give out too. Sorry for you guys, the 2,000 people in the show. My insides just don't agree with me ever. So there's that. But again, get on ProphetX now. Let's keep crushing basketball. And happy almost end of February. We'll catch you guys tomorrow. Kyle, any last words?
No, good luck on your plays today, everyone. We'll hopefully make some money. I had a shit day yesterday, so hopefully for the bounce back.
Let's always another day to bounce back. Every time you open your eyes, it's a fresh slate. Let's get after it. Peace out, guys.
Later.